All right, we have a video here to very much look at Thousand Arms review by StewTube. Interesting. Yeah, I've been on a trip to react to niche games and niche game reviews, and all of them have been pretty fun. Regardless, we'll jump in. Please check out his channel. Seems pretty cool. From what I can tell. So yeah, go check him out. Also, please consider liking, subscribing. I appreciate your support. We'll go in. I am curious what this game is about. I've been reacting to mostly niche JRPGs, so let's see whether or not what this one is. Right? Let's see what that one actually is. I am incredibly curious what this is going to be about.
Back in 1990-something, while temporarily living in a crummy motel room in northern Wisconsin with my mom and siblings, I couldn't stop thinking about this game called Final Fantasy VII that I used to rent week after week, and the unfinished playthrough that I would never complete because
I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII. I only have played Crisis Core. I've seen a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII, but I've never actually played it. I finished Crisis Core multiple times though, and I loved it. I know that 7 is like that, but I like Crisis Core quite a bit. That might be something for stream if you guys are interested. I may consider it. I want to play some more Final Fantasy games. Anyways, we'll continue.
because both it and my PlayStation got left behind at my house in my hometown. Me and my family kind of had to move away abruptly to get away from my mom's crazy ex-boyfriend. Kind of a story for
Diabolical. Yeah, we had the same experience, but for me it was the PSP. We left behind my PSP. With tears still.
another day. But if you are curious, you can check out my video titled Dear Final Fantasy. While staying in this motel, eventually I was able to beg my mom enough that she finally took me to a local video store in the town we were in, just so I could rent an entire PlayStation and a game. Back in the day, you could actually rent whole consoles from video stores, believe it or not. But another game did catch my eye. I didn't know anything about the game, but the cover looked awesome. I'm talking about Thousand Arms for the Sony PlayStation 1.
Oh, we got another niche JRPG. Let's see. Might be interesting. I want to play also Legaia. Predominantly Legaia 2, because I never actually finished this, because when I actually started playing it, I was barely able to speak English and did not understand most of it. Nowadays I do, so now it should be a cakewalk, should it? I don't know. I struggle with a lot of bosses.
A long time ago, on a console far, far away, before Atlas and the Persona series were all the rage, there was this little-known game by a little-known company that came to the United States just in time for Christmas back in 1998. That game was Thousand Arms, produced by Atlas but developed by a small dev team called Red Company. The game's development would be led by Takahiko Ito, the man behind Outlaw.
We're getting one of those classic anime intros for games again. Bro, I love these. They look so cool. Why not do that? I know the Tales games still do it. I think they still do it. They're still doing it last time. The last one I played was, I know that Berseria does still have one. I don't know if Tales of Arise has one. To be fair, I don't really like the art style of Tales of Arise at all. I feel like it doesn't look Tales, regardless. Anyways, yeah, I love these. I love this. Chrono Trigger had one. Most of the Tales game have one. Yeah, I love these. I love these old intros.
Star. Other notable members of Red Company would include Oji Hiroi as executive producer, the man behind Sakura Wars, and Hiroshi Kojima as the animation director, whose works include contributions to Hunter x Hunter, Area 88, and none other than Cowboy Bebop. Red Company would later go on to change their name to Red Entertainment, and go on to work on the Gungrave series of video games, which holy shit is a good game, as well as Record of Agarest War, as well as a Trigun video game that would never see the light of day. Red Entertainment would eventually be sold to the Chinese Communist Party.
Congrats, Comrade Toad, for 1k subs, as Give TCP sends you a special balloon. Soon we can move to phase 2 of the plan. Funny. Very funny. Very, very funny. Yeah, that's crazy. Interesting. A fun fact, if you didn't know, apparently the Chinese Communist Party is on a move to ban and restrict access to anime and manga. It's really weird. What a one-sided beef that is now.
And then back to a Japanese pachinko company years later. What a fate. So there's the backstory to how Thousand Arms came to be, as well as the people behind it. Now, let's dive in. So first things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, Thousand Arms is a JRPG, and yes, Thousand Arms has a dating sim mechanic. Little kid me was totally blown away and thought it was so cool I could talk to anime girls. But when adult me played through these parts, I literally cringed harder than the whole United States of America did during the 2016 debates when Ted Cruz ate his own booger on national television. Yes, this really happened. Here is the footage.
It could be worse. It could be worse. Listen. Okay, listen. I'm German. Our trainer for the national football team was digging in his ass live on TV and sniffing it too. Was it balls? I think it was balls actually. He was sniffing his balls. He was scratching his balls and then sniffing it. Yeah, it could be worse.
This whole dating mechanic thing is actually pretty mandatory for the game. Raising each girl's intimacy level allows mice to forge stronger weapons as well as imbue different spells and at times even special attacks for different characters. When I played through, I put this whole part of the game off for quite a while and it led to me being stuck on a certain boss for quite some time. Finally, near the end of the game, I spent a few nights grinding this part of the game out, and when it was time to face down the few final bosses, I was actually pretty over-leveled. Point being, be sure to take some time.
The visuals are really pretty. I like this. It has pretty visuals. The art style, I like it. Generally, I like it. This art style reminds me of something. But yeah, I like it. It looks pretty, as usual. They all look pretty. They always look pretty, it appears.
Time away from your classic JRPG adventures of traveling the planet and killing God to spend some time with the ladies and relax. But let's be real, it's pretty impressive that in the 1990s, Red Company managed to fit 15 plus hours of voice acting into this whole portion of the game.
Could you know...
It has voice acting? That's cinema! Wow, that's cool! Voice acting on the PS1. That wasn't too common, to be fair. That wasn't too common.
Pass gas in front of me?
And yes, Thousand Arms has voice acting. It's certainly not the greatest, but it's at least on par with average 90s anime dubs. Most of the cast are nobodies that only had a gig or two, like the main character Mice, whose voice actor Brian Mori being only credited with this one character his whole entire career. The game features John Rabson as the voice for both characters Jawbell and Bandager, whose repertoire consists of Brad's Pampered Pets, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and a Barbie movie? Oh my god. The craziest thing in the world, though, is the voice actor.
Literal nobodies. Interesting. Again, voice acting wasn't too common, and it's never really that great, but it's always appreciated, because obviously you'd rather listen to somebody speak than reading it yourself, right? That makes sense. Unless the voice acting is completely indecipherable, but that's usually not the case.
For Sedina, the game's main love interest, is voiced by Amanda Wynn Lee, who also voiced none other than Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I guess isn't really that impressive. I don't even know if she really ever talks. Interestingly enough, some of the cast would later go on to take roles in the Persona series.
What the fuck? Is that a mouse with a solid stack of boobs? That's crazy.
But even more interesting is that like 80% of the voice actors for this game also went on to provide voice acting for another obscure Atlas game called Tail Concerto, a game about furries. God damn, I want to play this one day.
Someone...
Hot animal women. I'm ready. I'm here for it. I think it's called Concerto, right? I think it's Italian. I'm pretty sure because the word also appears in Baten Kaitos, and Baten Kaitos uses a lot of Italian words. So there's that. I think it is.
It's coming.
A Thousand Arms opens up to our main character, Mice, walking back to his hometown, broken, starving, probably from wasting all of his money womanizing. As he gets home, he hears a big calamity and realizes his hometown is under attack by a group known as the Dark Acolytes. Before checking on his family, of course, he has to stop and flirt with a girl who's
That's really cool. They even have the straight up animated scenes in the game. That's a really cool way to do this in like the yapping sessions. Interesting. I like this. Yeah, Womanizer, a classic.
actively fleeing death. This is a classic moment that really sums up our main protagonist. After realizing his hometown was lost, he flees to a nearby city called Boisby. This is where Mice meets a girl named Sodina, as well as her brother Jabal, a blacksmith who would eventually agree to take Mice on as his apprentice. And it's here where we learn Mice's excuse for all his womanizing. He's not just a regular blacksmith, he's a spirit blacksmith that requires the help of a girl and the power of love to help imbue elemental spirits into weapons. Or so he says. Through Jabal,
The power of love, the power of Riz to get be a better blacksmith. Who I've never heard this one before. That's a new one.
we learn that the only way to defeat the Dark Acolytes is to journey across the land, searching far and wide, and to light the flames of all the sacred altars throughout the world. However, the leader of the Dark Acolytes, Emperor Medius, has manipulated Jabal's first apprentice, Schmidt, to join the dark side of the Force.
Silver hair, purple hair, villain. Immediately. You just know it. You just know it. You just know it. Villain immediately.
Schmidt, your rival, is also searching the world for the sacred altars so he can steal their power for the Emperor, who of course plans to ascend to the moon to become a god. Imagine that in a JRPG. On your journey traveling the world, you meet a really interesting cast of characters, each truly feeling unique. And unique is an understatement. Visually, Thousand Arms is similar to Grandia or Xenogears, 2D sprites over 3D polygon environments, my personal bread and butter. There are a few instances where the game uses pre-rendered backgrounds, and honestly they look really good. I'm just not sure why there's so few examples of it in this game. The game again is chock full of voice acting, handling most of its cutscenes with
Pre-rendered backgrounds were the bread and butter of many games. Because it usually helps a lot. It usually helps a lot. It puts a lot less strain on like whatever you're playing it on. I feel like there's no issue with even modern games using pre-rendered backgrounds if they look pretty. I have no issue with that. If it means you're saving power, means you're saving performance issues, why not?
hand-drawn portraits of the characters, even with occasional motion during the dialogue. The game manages to transition in and out of these scenes with very minor load times, which keeps the flow going. There are, however, some CGI FMVs as well as the occasional CGI FMV with 2D hand-drawn animation layered over the top, which looks amazing. Honestly, Thousand Arms has some really awesome visuals for being such an obscure and not very popular game.
That's cool! That's really cool! They did well! That's awesome! That looked cool! Wait a minute, I wanna look at that again. Wait a minute. Look at this.
As well as the occasional CGI FMV with 2D hand-drawn animation layered over the top, which looks amazing. Honestly, Thousand Arms has some really awesome visuals for being such an obscure and not very popular game. Now,
I've never seen it be done that way. I've never seen any game do it this way, do it like that. Interesting, that's cool.
there are two things about this game that are a little bit weird. Now, I will say I hate hearing complaints about games' cameras, but thankfully Thousand Arms does allow you to rotate and spin the camera's viewpoint. Most of the time you won't even need to worry about this unless you're in this one particular town that would almost be unnavigable without this ability. The second thing about Thousand Arms that some people might not like is the combat is sort of strange. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just
The looks are interesting. It looks interesting though. It looks very interesting. Wow. Like the model style. I would have assumed that the models, the character models in battle, well, models, the sprites in battle would look as they do, like, right, the chibi fight look. I guess I'm wrong.
Like any other JRPG, but in this game, instead of having party members standing side by side, all attacking and casting spells at the same time, instead Thousand Arms has a frontline character with your other two party members standing behind the frontline character. The same goes for your enemies. Frontline characters and enemies take turns attacking as normal, and when either you or the enemy's frontline character falls in battle, someone from the back fills their spot, and this carries on. This in theory works well, and it doesn't really slow combat as you'd expect it to, because each randomly encountered monster only takes a hit or two from a regular attack to go down. My biggest issue with this is your back characters can only cast healing or buff/debuff spells and use items. They can't attack or cast any offensive magic. You'll never get to see them in action unless you're constantly rotating out who your frontline character is. I mean, Mice is definitely a fuckboy, but I can't imagine him letting a girl go toe-to-toe with enemies while he sits in the back waiting. But shit, I don't know, maybe he would. Now let's talk.
Interesting. So you have a front character, and then who's the attacking one, and then two characters in the back that do the healing, the buffing, item usage. Interesting. Yeah, there's not a lot of depth here, but this is on the PlayStation 1. It's still the dark ages for JRPGs, more or less.
Talk about Thousand Arms World Map. World maps in PS1 JRPGs are probably one of my most favorite things about the entire genre. And as much as I love Thousand Arms, and despite the fact that it holds a really special place in my heart, the world map in this game is really disappointing. There aren't really a whole lot of towns, and half of them you only get to visit once. There aren't any secret things to find or really any reason to explore at all. You get one vehicle, which is a ship that can only drop you off at shores. There's no airships, no cars, no giant yellow birds, and the ship gets damaged during a battle with the Dark Acolytes. It eventually comes back, but by then you're only a few hours away from obtaining the ability to fast travel. The lack of airships is especially weird because the game's world has plenty of airships, and in fact they're one of the game's biggest themes. However, you never get to fly one. So that's it. An entire world map, a couple of towns, a few dungeons.
They probably didn't know how to pull it off. But then again, there's games like, there's games like Valkyrie Profile, right? Who do have flying. Doesn't Tales of Phantasia have that too? I'm pretty sure the Rayards, if they're in that game, I forgot, but I think Tales of Phantasia does have that too with the Rayards. I could be wrong though.
Dungeons, no secret caves, nothing. Thousand Arms overall is a beautiful diamond in the rough. It's the perfect game for any fan of classic 90s anime tropes. There's so much love and polish put into this game by such a tiny dev team, and there was so much potential for this game to spawn a whole franchise. And part of me feels like, honestly, that was probably what Red Company's goal was. There's a village hidden in the woods full of minigames and slot machines that screams Golden Saucer. There's also the cute and cuddly demon.
Classic, but that's a classic, right? Games having like a game corner or gambling section, that's usually pretty normal around that time.
Which are a mischievous and fun answer to Final Fantasy's Moogles. And much like Final Fantasy VIII's Eyes on Me, Thousand Arms features not just one, but 2 hit singles with vocals and everything. Depend on You, the game's opening theme, as well as Two of Us, which closes out the game. Both written and performed by J-pop artist Ayumi Hamasaki. Thousand Arms is really kind of a breath of fresh air. Most JRPGs from back in the day are very broody with broken people and broken protagonists on journeys to redeem themselves. This game is totally different. It's hilarious, whether it be a soda drinking contest to impress the ladies, or Musa quite literally freezing in place at the sight of a girl, or all the times Mice get slapped in the face.
He like me. My brother is my brother just from another mother. It really is. Understandable.
The game also has plenty of funny fourth wall breaks. Like, I'm pretty sure I found an NPC having an existential crisis screaming about how the developers forgot to program him to walk, so now he has to spend his entire life standing in one spot. Sadly though, Thousand Arms never really gained all that much attention in the West, if any at all. And it's such a shame. You can pick up a copy for around $40. Complete copies even come with memory card stickers as well as a little hologram card in the manual. In the manual, there's even a voucher for a free soundtrack/multimedia CD featuring desktop computer themes.
Ooh, that's... Remember when games came with goodies? Like a soundtrack, a CD for the soundtrack? A really cool, like, manual? Some other interesting goodies? The cover looks great. The back looks great. There's other cool stuff. Some games have like insides. There's like the background cover from the inside you can see is also like there's like an artwork on there. It's like I want to go back to those times. Like not the game, like how the games look. That's a different story. But like what you got for your money, bro, we pay $70 for less. There's games out there who have less content than these games. And they're $70. Full price title. Made with like 12 or 13 million. Sold as AAA games. Diabolical. All the goodies that we got back then, so great. So great. And if it were special editions, you got like special edition covers. And it's like so cool. It was so cool. I remember when I got Wind Waker like back then, and it was a special one, right? It came in a silvery case for the GameCube, right? Silvery case. The cover was in black and white and was a special edition for Wind Waker. Man, so peak.
And wallpapers, as well as other interesting things. 20 years later, now that I own a copy, I decided to email Atlas directly to see if this CD was still available for the $2 shipping and handling, if I filled out that little slip and mailed it to them. I can confirm the offer is no longer valid. They actually responded. One thing I love about the whole retro gaming community is when you find a game
Sag. Really sad. Would have been cool though if there was like, oh, you remember this game? Let me see if we still have that.
like Thousand Arms out in the wild. Unfortunately, I was never able to come across one myself, but the seller on eBay was kind enough to leave a little note for me in the game case, telling me how much he loved the game and how much it meant to him. Gary, if you're watching, your copy of Thousand Arms went to a good home. I hope you've landed an awesome job, dude. And maybe one day I'll mail this game back to you. Fun fact, Thousand Arms was really the second JRPG I ever played, the first being Final Fantasy VII. I didn't get to spend much time with Thousand Arms, as I've mentioned, but man did it.
And you got an art book back then as well sometimes. Like concept art in general. Like the manuals came like with character descriptions, personality details. Some of them not even in the game. Where is that? I miss that. That was so good.
Opened my eyes to so many things, from JRPGs to Japanese anime being more than catching Pokemon and fighting purple and gray aliens. And had I not found Thousand Arms when I did, I might actually have grown up to be a totally different person, and with totally different hobbies. In fact, years ago when I first decided to start this channel, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this in a stream or on the Discord, but I actually hired a guy on Fiverr to draw a handful of portraits of mice. And I had planned to use these images in place of a webcam. Yes, I was almost a VTuber. Before VTubers were a thing. My goal with this...
Close, buddy, close. Well, now you're being watched by one. How does it feel? Yeah. I never really did that. I do own a lot of JRPGs, though. A lot of JRPGs. I did find my PSP copy of Valkyrie Profile, funnily enough. I did find it. Too bad I do not have a PSP anymore.
Channel and the content I put out is to always encourage fans of the JRPG genre to go back and check out the games they missed back in the day. The PlayStation 1 era of JRPGs has so many hidden gems that people missed out on or have forgotten about. And if there's one game in the world I would encourage people to go back and give a second chance to, it would be Thousand Arms. Thousand Arms will always hold a special place in my heart, thanks to the things going on in my life at the time I first played it. And the thing about JRPGs and video games in general is they provide so much escape from the world, and sometimes that can be the difference between life and death. When I first played Thousand Arms, I was a scared little kid in a big mean world. My mom met this guy who ended up not being a very good person, and we had to pack up one day and leave town in the middle of the night. It would move from town to town over the span of about a year. That's a lot for an 11-year-old kid to go through, and I'm so grateful that I found Thousand Arms and all its quirkiness to offer me an escape from all that was happening around me when I was just a kid with a PlayStation, a big CR TV, and a pair of headphones. Thank
I still have a big fucking TV, like the big ones. I still have one. I still own one. And it still functions. It still functions. The big fucking TV, it still functions.
God those things had headphones. Sadly, I didn't have the game for long, and we had to return it to the video store before leaving for a new town. I spent all that summer thinking about Mice and Sedina and Musa and all of the adventures they were going to go on. I never forgot about them, or Thousand Arms for that matter. And after all these years, I'm glad I got to finish the game 20 years later with all of you.
I guess I have to put that on the list, right? At this point, might as well put it on the list and play it. It looks fun.
Here with me.
Thousand Arms came into my life during some pretty crazy years, and it was the perfect game for me to escape into as a kid. What games allow you to do the same? Hard to say. Really hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, Xenoblade was for trying times. Blaze Black 2 Redux for trying times, and I think Sonic Adventure 2 took so much space up because I played it so damn much in comparison to all the other games because I was raising Chalice back and forth. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the video. Yeah, this is an interesting game. I'm gonna put this on my list of games to play on stream, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is a cool game. I like the visuals. We might play that. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and please check out the channel as well, his channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.